So welcome to our Rising Phoenix business community. Gosh, this whole month in between feels like a long time. Does it feel like that to anybody else? It's like, whoa,
Guys,
a long time, right?
yeah,
So
a lot of water under the bridge.
glad everybody's here. And I'm sure that at any minute, Chuck Blakeman's going to interrupt me with something
Oh,
that
yes, yes. Well, we're going to interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast with some nonsense. Today, we're going to go through my favorites. We're going to go through my favorites. Sometimes I wonder if all of this is happening because I didn't forward that message to 10 other people.
Dang, I hate it when that happens.
and this
I
is
admit it. I admit it. I didn't forward it. It's me.
this is the time of year we start to get a lot of that too.
Okay, just let this one settle in. I mean,
yeah, I prefer the nose swab myself.
How we communicate really in reality is what we communicate. And I'm not sure this is what you want to communicate. One of my favorites. Yep, it's supposed to be a nasal swab. Thank you very much. And then how often does one need to change one's sweatpants? Every day, 4.8% of the people. Every 2 days, 13.5. What are pants? 28.9. And nothing matters anymore. 52.8% of the people.
Okay,
I love this one. Yeah.
I just did a search, I don't know why, on why people didn't used to bathe. So I'm going to talk to you offline about that.
That's great. Okay. All right. Well, this one's a personal favorite. I don't know if anybody else likes it, but I just laugh out loud every time I see it. So this one's for me. The rest of you can just tune out if you want. More than 20 sealed coffins discovered near Luxor, Egypt. Put that shit back. This is not the year.
Oh my God.
I don't know. It just strikes me so good. That's one of my favorites. This is not the year. Good. And then, of course, my all-time favorite, the year 2020, brought to you by the letters W, T, and F. Well, actually, it's not my all-time favorite. You all know this is my all-time favorite. We just have to end with the puppies. It's got nothing to do with COVID.
You didn't run this.
Yeah, you got nothing to do with COVID, but can you not run this at least twice? That is the most adorable thing I've ever seen in my life. The puppy does a somersault and goes right back for more. All right, that's the end of that nonsense. Sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, but
you're not sorry at all.
So we always, so I'm Sandy Corrigan with my husband,
Tom Corrigan,
and the
Chuck Blakeman.
Miss Chuck Blakeman, and we review our outline every week, but Chuck never lets us see the memes ahead of time. So we never know what we're going to get. It's that rugged individualist, man.
Yep.
So anyway, but welcome. And what are we doing today?
Hey, I'm going to read you a little quick story about motivation here in a second. We're going to get right into, Chuck is going to interview Jim Martini, who we're in a 3 to 5 club with, and who's mastered a wonderful tool we call the 2-page strategic plan. We're going to move into smaller groups to talk about how we might apply that to ourselves. And then we're going to do what we call bottlenecks. And that's where you can present to the group a challenge, opportunity, or problem that you're struggling with, or you've back shelved, or whatever it is that you could use the wisdom of crowds. And it's a great 6-minute process to get ideas and inspiration from other people. And then
I know you're going to tell a story.
I'm going to tell this story first.
I do know, but I'm waiting until the end.
So I don't know about you. Sometimes, especially on Monday, I might need a little extra motivation, and motivation shows up in a lot of different ways. We're hoping that you feel highly motivated after this broadcast today, because we're going to share with you a tool that will give you a clear path to keep you focused on your business every day without writing some 150-page, monstrosity. It's a 2-page plan. Anyways, the story goes that told of an old man who was traveling on an ocean liner when a huge storm blew up without warning. One woman lost her balance and fell overboard. People stood frozen with horror. Suddenly, a man plunged into the waves, grabbed her, and held her until a rescue boat came. A boot. I guess that's when you're from Minnesota. When they were pulled out, everyone was astonished and embarrassed to discover that the hero was the oldest man on board. Yes, it was him. And I've lost my place. A man in his 80s. That evening, they held a party to honor him. When they called on him to make a speech, the old man rose slowly. He looked around at the people and then said, "I would like to know just one thing." There was an embarrassed silence. "Who pushed me?" Sometimes this is the only way to get started. We need a push to get out of our old complacency and get moving in the right way. So we hope this gives you a little push this morning.
So we welcome the people that are here for the first time. There's some people here for the first time, and we did call this, hey Jamie, we did call this the Rising Phoenix Business Community, because this is a year, isn't it, where we have all had to willingly or unwillingly let stuff go, right? And so just like the mythical bird who chooses every 100 years to settle into the nest of things that need to be burned up and gone to come out with an even more fabulous present and future. We've been pushed a little this year to do that. And I think we're going to continue to be pushed a little to do that. So here's our website. You can see past show episodes here. You can be featured if you have a pivoting, a story of success of how you've reinvented yourself during this time, or you can recommend someone else. You can also tell us about a bottleneck that you'd like to do. Also, any new Cert Thrival funding that's available, the newest guide is you'll get here. And if you put your email in, we'll always send you the newest one. We don't use this to upsell you, spam you, try and get you to buy other stuff.
It's only for this guide.
It's really our give back to you to help you as small business owners thrive during a really interesting life. That's what we say. It's fascinating. Yeah. You know, adults don't learn on this. They're disoriented. I'd say we're getting our fair share of being disoriented.
We're going to learn a whole bunch.
We are learning a lot. So, okay. And so what's next? Chuck and Jim Martini. So Chuck Blakeman, founder of Craigset Group and Making Money is Killing Your Business, and Why Employees Are Always a Bad Idea, and Rehumanizing the Workplace and Giving People Their Brains Back, the 3 books that we're excited to be able to work out through Community of 3 to 5 Clubs. So Chuck, you and Jim are going to talk about strategic plan. And Jim, I am counting on you to make this fun, because you have a unique twist on strategic plan that we do want you to talk about today.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, we're excited. We're excited to have you on, Jim, to share how you use this 2-page strategic plan. I'm going to show people. Picture's worth 1,000 words, so I should just be quiet and let the picture go. But here's a 2-page strategic plan. This is our template for this. We think 2 pages is enough. That's page 1. That's page 2. Anything more? The strategy should be no more than 2 pages and no smaller than a 9-point font. There's no putting 4-point fonts in here to make it work. So this is our vehicle. And Jim, I just wanted to show people that. Don't have any clue what you want to do with that. You may not want to do anything with that, but I'd love to get you started. What do you think a strategic plan is? How is that different? Let's start with what's the difference between a strategic plan and a business plan? Because we hate business plans. We love strategic plans.
Yeah, I had to prepare a business plan for the organization I was CEO for, Life Model Works, which I'm glad to see Dave Mead showing the logo there. And it was, the whole team worked on it, and it took a long time, and I think it was 26 pages, and it just wasn't referred to anymore. I think the way you talk about it in your book, you say, strategic plan. The biggest problem with a strategic plan is it can stand up, which means it'll fit on your shelf and never be taken down again.
Yeah, we call those, it's like your shelf help books. It helps your shelf look nice. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think for me, the thing that's so valuable about the 2-page strategic plan, each section is super valuable, but it distills down to, what do I need to do this month? And what I love about the what do I need to do this month is it's a great litmus test. It's the thing that tells you, and you have a lot of things pressing on you, okay, which thing do I need to press back on? I love the way Stephen Covey talks about it with the quadrant 1 are things that are urgent and important. And quadrant 2 are the things that are not urgent, but they're important. You don't need to make any plan for handling your quadrant 1 stuff because it yells at you all day long. And you talk about it as the 2 bosses, you know, the one boss that's that urgent boss that's telling you what you have to do. But then there's quadrant 2. You know, I did something fun with my business maturity date. I broke it down into how many working hours I have. So I have 3,349 working hours left. I figure I better, if I want to achieve my BMD, I better spend at least 1/10 of those working hours on quadrant 2 activities, things that have no urgency, but if I don't do them, I'm not going to make my BMD, right? That's how I'm measuring what's important in that case. So 335 hours I need to spend between now and my BMD on those Q2 things. Well, the only way to know what the Q2 things are is my 2-page strategic plan. I had a week where I had a whole bunch going on and a lot of things were vying for my attention. And I was able to just remind myself, okay, is it on my plan? No, it's not on my plan. I don't have to do that. It's not on my plan. So I find it very, very helpful from that personal perspective. And so maybe we can talk about that for a minute, but then I can talk a little bit about how we use it in our team as well, because
that's great. I think the thing that separates the business plan from the strategic plan for me more than anything is that 2 things. One is that the business plan is stagnant. It's this arrogant notion that you can plan something in January and actually think you just walk it out for 12 months as if it's not going to interact with the real world that's going to screw it up. It's like trying to get from where I am. I live 9 miles from the Capitol building in Denver. It's like trying to get from here to the Capitol building by taking snapshots of all the intersections and then actually trying to get to the Capitol building based on the snapshots, which happened anywhere from 1 minute to 30 minutes ago. It ain't going to happen. But that's what we do with a strategic plan or with a business plan. It's nonsense. A strategic plan is rolling. It's dynamic. You interact with it weekly. It changes when you figure out that the world has interacted with it in a way that needs it to move. So it's a very different vehicle that way. And I can't control the next 12 months, but I can control at least 80% of the next 2 weeks. So let's deal with where do we want to end up 12 months from now? And then what do we need to do over the next few weeks? So that's the idea behind this is we back it down. We eat the elephant one bite at a time. I want people to be clear. You have 2 strategic plans. What do your 2 strategic plans cover? I think that's awesome. I only have 1. I should have 2.
Yeah. So I have two plans. I have what I call my vocational 2-page strategic plan, which is everything that's not work related that I want to accomplish. I actually have 20 things on there that I want to accomplish this year. And I run a funny year. I run my year around my BMD, right? So my BMD is in June. So my year ends in June. And I've got 5 of them pretty well nailed. And again, it's super helpful because now I've got both things covered. No matter what's coming at me, whether it's a work thing or a personal thing, is it on my plan? No, it's not on my plan. Hey, maybe I could put that on my plan for next year, but it's not on my plan this year.
I think that's awesome. A personal plan and a business plan. I think we ought to have both of those because to your point, both of them are subject to the tyranny of the urgent and the priority of the important gets pushed aside in both cases. I have another friend who combined it. He's lazy. I call him, he's ambitiously lazy, which makes him really smart. So he combined them. He just takes his business plan and he figures out what are all the fun things I want to do in my personal life first. And he sticks them in his business calendar before anything else goes in. And then he works his business around all that stuff. That's brilliant. So so we got a 12-month, a 3-month, and a 1-month. Kind of give us a quick review on that. How do we work this strategic plan?
Sure. So that's that's page 2, right? We had a lot of good stuff we did on page 1, but now we take all that good stuff on page 1 and we put it into page 2. So the 12-month objectives, what is it we want to accomplish? Is that, am I looking at each of my strategies? Is it going to get me to my BMD? So that's my 12-month. Then I do it every 3 months. So every 3 months when we're having our team meeting for the business one, we look back at I don't move my 12-month every month or every 3 months.
Yeah, I don't either. We only touch it once a year. That's why it's a 12-month.
Yeah, exactly. Because I want to actually see if I got there or not. Right. So,
Yep.
so I leave it there. But yeah, the 3-month changes. So we're now looking at our October 1st through December 31st. And we've got 7 things that we want to do on there during the 3-month. And then mine's broken down by team members. So at our monthly meeting, we then choose what is it we're going to do in the next month that's going to move us toward our 3-month, which is going to move us toward our 1-month, toward our 12-month, which is going to move us toward our business maturity date. So at the end of this monthly team meeting, everyone walks away with a very small list. I have 4 items on my list. Mario has 1 item on his list, but that's a whole nother story. Kari has 4 items. Kim has too many items. She has 7. I shouldn't have let her do that. And Julian has 5. So all of us know, what is it that we're going to report back on in a month that moved us toward getting to our 3-month, our 12-month, and ultimately our business maturity date.
That's it. Just sounds so simple. Why don't more people do this?
That's a great question. My suspicion is it's just the tyranny of the urgent. Just being overwhelmed by so many things that are calling on your attention, and not, the one of the first of Stephen Covey's 7 habits is to be proactive. You push out on things. You decide what's going to happen. Don't let the urgent decide what's going to happen. That's my guess, but I'd love to hear your experience on
this. And I think
Chuck.
that's going to be, we can open that up around the discussion as well. But I think to me, that's one of the biggest reasons is I'm just too busy making chairs to actually plan on how I should make chairs later. I'm just too busy doing it now. And there's just, I make money, but the tyranny of the urgent is where you make money. That's part of the problem. You make money building the chair and selling the chair. You don't make money thinking about how good your chair is and whether you should build a different one. So we never get around to that piece. Yeah, Connie, I see your hand raised there. You got an idea on why people don't do strategic plans?
They probably have done something like it in their heads, but to me, the elephant in the room is the tyranny of the urgent, and everything else is all about, I'm afraid to do this, or I don't feel like doing it today, or it's the getting yourself to do it thing. Maybe I'm the only one.
No, yeah, you're the only one. You should feel very alone. No, we're all, I see Kim saying, yeah, no, it's her too. It's all of us. That's why I came up with this thing for myself. This isn't something we threw out there. We tried to create to sell on the internet. It's like, holy cow, how do I do this for myself? And that's where the 2-page strategic plan came from. So we've learned a couple things from that. One is there's a real difference between obstacles and problems, things that actually belong in your strategic plan and things that belong on a to-do list. So speak to that a little bit, Mr. Martini.
Well, so for me, the next step, once I've got my strategic plan, is my weekly planning. And I have a process for weekly planning that's partly Stephen Covey and partly David Allen getting things done. And it's an investment of time. It takes me an hour and a half on Friday, or if I know Friday's busy, it's going to be on Thursday evening. And that's when I pull out both of my 2-page strategic plans. I pull out all the junk and stuff that's piled up. I think through my roles, who am I and what is it that I'm doing in life? And I kind of identify in each role, what's the thing I need to do for a week, for this next week. And then I get a piece of paper out, just simple. Oh, darn, I should not have. There we go. You can see a little bit of that.
Yep.
I get a piece of paper out and it just has a column for every day of the week. And I write in my big rock that I'm going to be working on each of those days. And normally, I make a mistake and I put too much on Monday. So on Tuesday, I'm still working on Monday, and on Wednesday, I'm still working on, Monday. But I know not to write anything on Thursday and Friday. I've learned, I always put a little too much on there. But that's how I bring it all together on a weekly basis.
Awesome.
So I'm using my 2-page strategic plans, because I have both of them, to feed this weekly plan. And then each day I'm looking at, the first thing I'm looking at is, okay, what were my big rocks? And I've got kind of another way that I build out my day. I have I plan on a piece of paper again, because it's just easier on paper than it is in electronic
is.
stuff. What my day is going to look like. And I have 7 habits I do every day. And then I work on my big rocks, and I may have some small pebbles that get done during the day as well.
That's awesome.
So that's how I pull it all together.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for us to divide the two, because I learned if I just had one long list of dumb stuff I had to do, the really important stuff got lost in the really pedantic stuff, and the tyranny of the urgent took over. So I really encourage you never to put anything on your strategic plan that won't change your business forever. Let me say that again. Nothing belongs in your strategic plan that won't change your business forever. Now, that can be a really small thing. I have an 11-step process, and I decide I need a 12-step process. Put that on your plan, because that will change your business forever, that you now have a 12-step process. Or we were paying people $11 an hour, but we need to figure out something that will actually keep them longer. You know, you might end up with $13 or $15. Put that on your strategic plan. That changes your business forever. So some very tactical things can go on there, but only things that change your business forever. If the copier broke, how do we know we're solving a problem, not an opportunity? This has always helped me. If your business is different when you're done solving it, you solved an obstacle. That goes on your strategic plan. If your business just goes right back to where it was when you've solved it, you've solved the problem. So if 10 people work for you, one quits, that's a problem. That does not go on your strategic plan. Hire a 10th person, because when you hire a 10th person, you're right back where you started, and that will not push you forward. Maybe what goes on your strategic plan is, why did they quit? And if you figure out, well, there's a reason why they quit, we don't know what it is. We'll put that in your strategic plan. Figure out what will keep people staying longer. Then you're going to be solving important stuff. Otherwise, the problems are urgent stuff. The obstacles are important stuff. And the important stuff will change the way you do business, even just incrementally, one thing at a time. All right, what else you got? Well, let me show you. I'll just show people this. You don't have to do this, but on our template, we've got our 2-page strategic plan, and right beside it, I used to call this dumb stuff I have to do, but this is the problems. These are the things that need to get done, they need to get done, but they won't change the way we do our business. And then when we're done with them, we put them over here as ta-das. We like to keep track to show all of the fun stuff we've gotten done that didn't impact our business or did. So that's kind of how we run these things. Jim, what are the thoughts or bits of wisdom you have for us on this?
Well, I'm still kind of chewing on your idea of only put things on your strategic plan that are going to change your business forever.
Your mind, I say that to everyone, and your mind might work in a way where that works. Do it. My mind doesn't, because I will go right to the fun stuff or the easy stuff or the loud stuff, and I will not discipline myself to go through that stuff that way. So that just bifurcates it really easily for me.
Well, it keeps you always playing the business owner game, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being a craftsman or one of the other Apex.
So you mentioned it.
Profiles.
What is the business owner's game?
So I don't know
Very
if
quickly.
I'm gonna... Basically, the business owner's game is, how do I make this business that's going to run without me? How do I get to a stage 5 or beyond business? So,
and if you're not playing that game, then you're playing the income producer's game. How do I make money?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so that keeps you playing that business owner's game. That's a great way to look at the strategic things, keeps you playing that game. How do I make more money in less time? That's really the game. One other thing that I think is important, the idea of big rocks, when I first developed this thing for myself a decade and a half ago, I would always I'd have 5 or 6 or 7 big things I'd like to get done that year, sometimes 8, 9, or 10. And I found that what happened if I had 7 things that I needed to get done, I got all 7 of them 50% done.
Mm.
And when I had 3 things, I got all 3 of them 75% done. So we've really disciplined ourselves to figure out what is the one thing. And sometimes you'll find, or most of the time you'll find, if you have 7 things, you can find one of them that will accomplish 5 of the others. Do that. And I think that's really important for us to figure out how to have as few big rocks as possible. So that's been very helpful in developing that strategic plan mindset as well. What else you got? What other fun stuff you got for us in terms of the way you're doing this? I love your tactical, practical approach to this strategic plan. every day.
Yeah, the other thing I find is, being in a 3 to 5 club is huge. We were talking earlier about what's the number one reason people don't do the 2-page strategic plan, because they're too busy. If I'm in my 3 to 5 club, that means twice a month, I'm facing a bunch of other business owners and I'm telling them what I've done to play the business owner's game, not just to be on the treadmill making money. And it's hard not to have a strategic plan if I'm in a group of other people who have a strategic plan and are using it. I think the number 2 reason that people don't make their strategic plan is they want to have a perfect strategic plan.
Yeah.
They're like all or nothing. Like, if someday I'm going to spend 10 hours and I'm going to make a really good plan. I
That's
remember
right.
one of our 3 to 5 meetings, we said, hey, you know what? One guy hadn't done his for a long time. Like, look, just during this meeting, take out a piece of paper and write some stuff down on it. That is your strategic plan. Forget about the spreadsheet. Just get a piece of paper and write some stuff on it. And next week, when you look at it, maybe you'll write some more stuff. And maybe in a couple of weeks, you'll have 2 pages. But just start. Just put something down on a piece of paper.
We call it a bad plan carried out violently. And I learned this myself. All these are personal lessons. I had to learn the mantra: planning doesn't create movement. Movement creates the plan. Put a timer on and refuse to go over the timer. Say, give yourself 30 minutes or an hour to put together your strategic plan. And wherever you are when you're done, you have to get all the way to the bottom, start, and then start going. Because remember, you're going to have all kinds of time as you go to make it better. You can hear it in Jim's voice and just in his practical examples of working with this on a daily and weekly basis. Planning didn't create movement. Movement is creating the plan for you. Would that be a fair way to assess that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The plan gets better every month. We haven't talked much about page 1 of the plan, but page 1 of the plan has strategies on it. Well, it seems like every second month that we get around to, we're doing it every month, but when we're at the all hands meeting, and we're trying to figure out, okay, what is not working? Why are we not getting the results we want as fast as we want them? Sometimes we can go back to strategy. We had a situation where we weren't getting the kind of ratings that we wanted to get. We'd gotten a few negative reviews and we were trying to figure out what to do about that. And we realized that we had never put on our strategies that guest satisfaction was one of our strategies.
Interesting.
So
and that's really important. I just love that, because you get what you intend. And if you didn't intend that, gee, what a surprise, you may not be getting it.
Yeah. We had another example where I think we had an unintentional strategy that we'd never written down, but we were operating under it, which was, hey, I'll bet we could save money if we try and use the lowest cost contractors, get someone that maybe isn't as experienced to manage our project for us, and buy the materials ourselves. Well, we did enough projects to realize that we went over on time and budget, that if we had taken the highest bid, we would have done better than trying to do that ourselves. But that was a strategy. It wasn't written down.
Yeah.
But it was a strategy we were operating off of. And so now the question is, do we want to continue to pursue that strategy, or, is there a better strategy we should pursue?
And to your point, Jim, again, another reason to write this stuff down and have an actual written plan. Too often we're winging it, and then it becomes situational ethics or whatever you want to call it. But we have something in our plan, in our head, that's sort of a strategy, but it doesn't rule us. It's not a boss. You write this stuff down and it gets a life of its own, and you at least have to face it and say, are we going to violate that? But when it's in your head, you can come up with all kinds of rationales, or just forget that you did it. So it's really important to write down, what do you intend to get done, and how do you intend to get done? Well, we're out of time. We haven't even touched the really important stuff. The values, the vision, the mission, the things that actually underpin this whole stuff. If you don't do these things first, none of the rest of this stuff matters. But we can only do so much. And we're going to get into small groups where we can discuss this, and we're going to come back and share this as well. So Jim, the guy with the party drink last name, I mean, this was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I really enjoyed it.
Back to you, Tom, Sandy.
Thanks, Jim and Chuck. Nice job. And we are going to invite you to other opportunities to get into the core of this tool in just a few moments. But before we do that, while it's fresh on our minds, we want to invite you to join us in some breakout groups. You're not required to. If you choose not to, don't sign off. We'll be back in a short while, but you can hear from other people how they're processing this. So you guys touched on an important issue, and that's the big rock. And oftentimes people misinterpret the big rocks as the big challenge or the mountain you have to overcome. And really, we just find that if you identify your big rock for the year, and you are able to overcome that one thing, it makes everything else easier. Everything else starts falling into place. Otherwise, you're spread out, as Jim said, and you're diffused, and you end up doing, chasing all those urgent and unnecessary things. So our good friend Megan is about to throw us into groups. Hang in with us. You're going to get an invite here in just a second, and there it is.
And if you don't want to join a group, just don't push the button. Just hang in. We'll be back. We'll see you in a bit. Obviously, ours was the best group ever, but I'm sure yours were good groups as well.
I say that every week, and it's just not true, but okay.
She's a little competitive. She doesn't let me get away with that. So some blinding flashes of the obvious. It's like I could have had a V8. What are some things you may have already known, but this discussion about planning, and especially planning strategically, and the one big rock a year, give us a few thoughts from your groups. What did your groups discuss that you thought everybody should hear? Who's got a couple of those? We'll just take 3 or 4 or 5.
I think the conversation for me was whether to review my strategic plan on a Friday versus a Monday. And it was good to hear Tom's thoughts on that.
Hey, Ginny, will you pop in and talk about the merger story? Because I think that's a really great example.
Sure. It looks as though you can hear me. My daughter's a CPA and she worked in mergers and acquisitions. And what I learned from her is that the first thing they look at is their exit plan before they even buy a company.
It's great. They want to know where they're going and if they have a plan to succeed.
Exactly, right.
That.
Which makes me look at my own strategy and my own plan, which is why I like the strategy sheet of paper that you've written down. Mine's a lot simpler than what I saw here, but
even better.
Yeah.
Got something.
Yeah.
Simple works. Simple works.
Yeah,
right.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for pushing that out there. So who else? Great stuff.
I just had a thought since your whole thing is 3 to 5 club, maybe there should be a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan for that. It's like one rock for each year.
Well, the idea was behind it was somewhere between 3 and 5 years from the beginning of a business, you ought to be able to get some measure of time freedom in your business within 3 to 5 years. So that's what 3 to 5. Turns out that a lot of businesses, if you've been in business for 10 or 15 years, you can get there in 1 to 3 years. We could have called it 1 to 3 club for most people.
And that's really interesting. We talked in our group about how people start out in 3 to 5 club and they're like, I don't know what. And so we just say, just pick a date. And then it's amazing how many people make it by that date or even sooner, right? You're just randomly saying, I'm going to pick this. And then you work towards it.
Anyone else?
I thought I heard somebody else.
I guess just get started on it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but also the other thing that came up in our group was that it's important when you're making a decision that the people impacted by that decision are also involved and can be part of putting the strategic plan together.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, input equals ownership. If you put together a plan for other people's lives, don't be surprised if they don't buy off on it. Mm-hmm. Our strategic plan, we do that together. Mm-hmm. It's all done together.
And then I like what Chuck said earlier about nothing belongs on the strategic plan that won't change your business forever.
Yeah, because there's just too many things I need to get done this week. Those, I got to get them done. If I don't mow the lawn, the HOA is going to sue me and I'm going to lose my house and I'm going to lose my business. So I got to mow the lawn, but it's not going to change my business to do that. Anybody else?
I think I'm interrupting somebody again, but
All right.
I mentioned my big rocks are usually projects in my work, my engineering work, but they're not big rocks to get me to publish a book that's widely accepted.
Yeah, that's the key, Connie, is too often we think our big rock is actually getting work done, building the next chair. Well, then we wonder why we're in the same place next year, because nothing changed. So how do we get things to change? We make the big rock the things that will actually change things. We will be different. Our businesses will be different because we did X this year. And that's our big rock. It's not just big things that need to get done. It's big things that get done that will change us and change our business. We will be in a different place when we do that. And sometimes the big things are little things. Like I said, bring on 2 new customers a month. Well, at the end of the year, you have 24 new customers. That's a big change. Great
Well,
example.
This is a great discusussion, and we want to invite you to continue to keep having it with us. And there's a couple of places that you can do that. Chuck is holding a 3-hour strategic plan, or 2.5, whatever it is, longer, unpack it all on a workshop on November 12th. And Megan, I'm sure, can put that invite in our chat box. And you can also email us at grow@325club.com. So grow at the number 3, TO number 5club.com if you need anything or, want the invite to this, as well as for 3 to 5 Club. So if you go on our new 3 to 5 Club site, right? Newly engineered 3 to 5 Club site, you can see where all our 3 to 5 clubs are in Ireland. We've got people from Ireland, and I'm having music background, and Africa, and across the United States, soon to be in other places. And in many places, we have virtual options. So the gift of COVID has been that we've figured out how to be face-to-face and virtual. And so you can go on there and you can contact us about coming and visiting a 3 to 5 Club and potentially, hopefully, get involved. I also want to encourage you to stick your contact information in the chat. You can say what your business is, how people can get a hold of you, because we do everything in community, and we love encouraging our people to do one-to-ones so we can get to know one another and really look for opportunities to move one another's businesses forward intentionally. And so feel free to be able to do that, connect with each other offline. This part of our show, we usually do a bottleneck, and we had someone do a bottleneck last time that's not on the call, because we love when you do a bottleneck to have you come back on and follow up. But that is not the case today. And so the bottleneck portion happens at every 3 to 5 Club, and we do it on every Rising Phoenix. And we give you a minute to explain what that obstacle, issue, opportunity, challenge is. And then we time 2 minutes of clarifying questions, because we really understand what's the real issue that we can help with. And then for 3 minutes, the group will rain ideas on you. You mute yourself at that point and just take in the wisdom of crowds, the opportunity for people to help you move forward. And so who's got a bottleneck? And this is the part where we say, hey, we should be like,
Me
elbowing
first.
each other
Choose me.
to do a bottleneck. So Chuck put in there, what's my opportunity, issue, 2, clarifying questions, and 3, rain ideas. So who's got a bottleneck today? You can raise your hand, unmute yourself, say I do in the chat box.
Now, who would like to share one of their many bottleneck opportunities or issues? We've all got about 35 if we just sat and thought about it for a second.
Robbie, are you talking?
Oh, I got busted, didn't I? Oh, Greg,
Your lips move. Do you have a bottleneck?
office with me. Okay.
Yeah, one of you needs to turn your mute yourself. Yeah.
Do you have a bottleneck, Robbie?
So we do, I guess I could come up with this.
Great, so we'll
I
time you.
want to time you in
have
a
lots of business going on right now,
Yeah.
which is a real blessing. It's very fortunate, and I hear you loud and clear on the obvious of the tyranny of the urgent and just getting more intentional. So that's kind of what's in my head right now. But with that said, so many times what gets to be a clutter is not landing. You have so many opportunities, but what is the one focus possibility? So that's what I was noodling in our small group time. I was asking Brad, who does all of this, is already up and running with his strategic plan. How do you decide which initiative gets sequenced? Like, what is the top of the pile as opposed to a third one? Because I get maybe too perfectionistic about it, but just thinking about this is what we need to do next, then we have to do this, and it has to be in some kind of sensible priority. And sometimes if you fuss too long with something, then you never get to it. So that might be my issue, my bottleneck. We're also working on having some internal meetings on vetting our initiatives and what all the opportunities look like, and then which one in fact does float to the surface. So we are going to do some of those types of huddles coming up
Great.
this
So-
fall.
So we're gonna move into 2 minutes of clarifying
Does
questions.
that explain it? The
For you.
bottleneck?
Well, and if not, we're gonna ask
Can't
you
hear
some
anymore.
questions so we can understand. it. So- Tom, you want to time?
I got it.
So let's ask Robbie some questions.
So one of the things you want to solve is how to know how to sequence which thing you're going to do next. What's the big rock you're going to accomplish next?
Yep, prioritization. Because we got about 8 things that we need to address or think about, and they're all opportunities.
Why is that important to you to prioritize?
I don't know. I guess some of them have to happen, like coming up with a bonus structure for someone we're going to hire. The other ones are incentive plan. The other ones are more to do with the marketplace and opportunities that are going on. So if we're going to invest a lot of energy into something, I'd like to have clarity on that objective to be sure that's the one to kind of chase down and put into rocks.
What's your main business?
It's in architectural metals. So it's just building jewelry on buildings is really the quickest way to say that, and commercial high-end apartment buildings primarily. So pergolas and things on amenity decks, that type of thing. A general contractor and architect, we primarily deal with a general architect.
Do you have people within your group that are really proficient at certain aspects and maybe not at all aspects that could give you more light on the individual tasks you want to do?
Well, that's where I'm thinking, we have another tool that we sometimes use, and we're thinking to go through an action initiative profile to kind of put everything in a priority by doing a SWOT analysis kind of thing. We just haven't spent the time to doing that. I'm confident that would help make the priorities a little clearer and make opportunities, which ones really are meant to focus on, but it's, yeah. I was asking Brad, does he have a quick and dirty way that he thinks about that with his business? Like, which one am I working on this week to advance the company? Yeah.
Great. So this is a great transition, Robbie, because now we're into solutions. So you're going to mute. And maybe Brad, you want to start by commenting on that, and anyone else that has some ideas that Robbie could use for this.
And begin.
So Brad, you've been called upon.
Oh, I have been. Yeah, I think really good clarifying questions there. And I think the answer there is if you have 8 problems, I don't know how many people you have working for you, but what I do on my second page is I have the 3-month and the 1 month, and I have each one of my stakeholders own a process. So what is your 1 month goal? What's your 3-month goal? And, have them own those 8 things, and then you're just managing that, you're managing the strategies and they're dealing with the weeds. That would be my suggestion to you.
Thanks, Brad. Anyone else?
So I would first identify your overriding 12-month objective. So, from the 2-page, do a 2-page strategic plan, even if it's not perfect, just do one. Do a 1-hour version of a 2-page strategic plan. identify that overriding 12-month objective, which one 12-month objective is most important to you, and then pick the one that gives you that gets you there fastest. Of your 8 opportunities, which gets you to your 12-month objective fastest? That'd be the one thing I'd look at. And then the other thing I'd look at is, of the 8 opportunities, which one could become permanent and make money for you without you being involved?
That's good. Thank you.
And Robbie, I'd really recommend that workshop to you. And the one thing that I continue to see after being involved for 10 years with this is that being in a relationship, in a workshop, or in community in 3 to 5 clubs creates accountability. And it's not shame-based, and it's not, you didn't do your homework. It's more like Jim said, you're showing up with other business owners who are doing this. And eventually you hear it enough times and you're working out together, or somebody like Jim says, just take out a piece of paper and let's help you in 10 minutes today. So accountability is awareness, and it's other people in support of what we're all trying to accomplish. So consider, where do you have that even in your existing business with your people? And also Chuck goes into this in more detail in the book, and Megan put the link in there to order the book also.
If you want to get your hands quickly on a copy of the 2-page strategic plan, that's what we're working on this month in 3 to 5 clubs. Just go to 325club.com, find a group. You're welcome to join us as a visitor and get access to this and be part of a vibrant conversation about how to implement it.
And Robbie, we hope you'll come back next month and talk about the progress you've made. So we're going to provide a little accountability for you by saying, come back and tell us maybe one thing you talked about or applied with your team in this. We'll be anxious to hear.
Okay, I'll mark my calendar. Thank you.
Thanks for being courageous also. One of the things that I want to mention is that we've got a couple of podcasts. So we have a Get Off the Treadmill podcast that we've launched for business leaders. I think we're into 5 or 6 episodes now. So you can go to iTunes or just go to your podcast app on your iPhone and put the Get Off the Treadmill podcast for business leaders. Chuck also has a Get Off the Treadmill podcast for, what's the official title? Dental
podcast. Get off the tread. Yeah, got dental podcast.
Yep. And so another resource for you, 3 to 5 club members, I might be calling on you to be interviewed on that. And so just wanted to tell you that exists. Would love for you to be on it. Would love for you to share that to help other business leaders. We've also got something pretty excited we'd like to ask your help with, and maybe we can put some info in the chat box. But we are launching 3 to 5 clubs for Black business owners in Denver. Well, really anywhere, because we have
specifically Black
business owners. And I had hoped BJ could be on, but he wasn't on this morning. We'll tell you more about that. We're very excited about being able to help that community, because the stats we're uncovering are shocking in terms of the money that small business owners make as compared to Black business owners who are small business owners. So
we want to address, the systemic economic challenges. And this is one way we can do. We can change communities by changing people on how they think about their business to help them succeed, which affects clearly their families. And then there's a trickle down. So we're going to go head to head in that. We've got a great partner in the Black business community right here in Denver named BJ Joyce. And we're really excited to get this going.
And Megan, if you'll put in the chat box, www.3to5club.com, and also the link to the strategic plan workshop if you have it. Otherwise, I'm sure you'll send it out. So if you guys put your email in there, we can make sure you get it. But we also love to have our blinding flashes of the obvious, which are, what are you taking away from today? What's your aha, or what's one small thing you might, or one big thing you might start to implement? So we put it in the chat box, unmute yourself, pop in. But what are you taking away from this this call today?
I think Jim's idea of having both a vocational and a personal strategic plan sounds overwhelming, but it's needed.
Thanks, Bart.
Yeah, but hey, put stuff that will change your business forever. And if it's not going to do that, don't put it on your 2-page strategic plan.
Thanks, Dave.
Again, for me,
Yeah.
I suppose it's that it's difficult to do this on your own. Having a community to help you and to bounce things off of makes things an awful lot easier.
Absolutely. Thanks, John.
And Tracy said, great reminder of differences between a strategic plan and a business plan. Going to get our strategic plan in place this month. Awesome.
Good choice.
Mine is, I'm looking forward to exploring that on Wednesday with y'all, and really need to work on the personal strategic plan. And I'm glad that Dave and Jim will be joining us, and you guys will help get that spurred along.
Thanks, Brett. Brad's the president of our Wednesday morning virtual club. We got people from coast to coast. So it's a real fun club to be a part of.
Brad is my hero, because even before I joined the group, he'd reached his BMD, and while I was in the group, he accomplished his ILD, ideal lifestyle date goal of 1 day off a week, 1 week off a month, and 1 month off a year. So is that why you need to do a vocational strategic plan now? You have all that time, you're not sure what to do with it all?
Yeah, you actually hit it right on the head there. Yeah. Well, how can I be more productive with my, yeah.
What a
personal
great
time.
problem to have.
Isn't it?
I like the clarification of obstacles and problems.
Thanks, Connie.
Well, you want to take us out with a little bit about community and how important.
Before you do that, I'm going to plug my shamelessly plug
we
my
do
book.
that. Plug,
Oh,
shamelessly
you have a new
plug
book
that
coming
book.
out, Chuck?
What
Yeah,
do
it
you
just so
know?
happens it's going to launch November 18th. If you want to pre-buy it on Amazon today, that would be awesome. It'll ship on November 18th. And I'm getting the audio done this week. So we're going to have an audio version as well, but love for you to buy Rehumanizing the Workplace by Giving Everybody Their Brain Back. And I think, Megan, if you'll put that in the URL or to Amazon in there, that would be awesome. Shameless plug.
That's awesome.
Thanks,
Thank you
Chuck.
for doing that.
You know, we were
Since
not.
we don't have a copy to hold up yet,
That's right.
Chuck.
Yeah, someday we'll get our very own. We were not made to be, the independent pioneer, cowgirls, cowboys, and just blast through life and ride off into the sunset. We need one another. In community, we find people who can address our weaknesses and help us with our blind spots like no other. And that's one of the major components of 3 to 5 clubs. Love to have you join us and come to visit us. Thanks so much for joining us today. Anybody
got a great quote? Hurry, because otherwise we're going to have to see puppies going down the slide again. Who's got a great quote?
Connie.
I have one from a confidence expert on building your confidence. She said, most of us are such perfectionists that if we say, I'm going to stop complaining, and then one day we complain 55 times and the next day we complain 54 times, so we give up in, why bother, because I'm never going to succeed. She said, you should celebrate every single teeny tiny improvement in the right direction. Keep track of at least 5 a day and it'll change your life in a few weeks. Start looking for every tiny little bit of improvement that you make.
That's great.
I love that. So I just want to celebrate each one of you for making a choice to not be, working, in your business, but be working on your business for this hour. And we'll see you next month.
Yeah, we'll see you next month on December 7th. And do you know what day that is? I know what you're going to say. What is it, Chuck? You're muted. You're muted.
It's D-Day, isn't it?
It's Sandy's birthday, so
It's
show
my
up. We're
birthday.
gonna birthday cake for everybody.
Birthday.
I know you think it's Pearl Harbor Day, but it's really my birthday.
It is a national holiday. It's your birthday.
Have a great month and hope to see you before then.
Be thankful.
Yeah, be thankful. Hope to
Thank
see
you.
Oh,
Check in
no.
with everybody.
Gotta
There it
see the
is.
puppies.
There's the
There we
puppies.
go. Make a laugh, make a smile. So yeah. Thanks, Chuck.